Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, how the federal government shutdown is impacting Buena Vista's water plant renovation efforts.
And then, how much money Rockbridge County and Buena Vista schools received in grants, and what they plan to do with the money to make the kids safer.
Buena Vista only had 3 people run for 4 spots on the school board last week. We have who was elected to the 4th spot.
And later in the broadcast, why some areas in rural Virginia had a higher turnout last week.
And then, a closer look at President Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
All that and more coming up right now on the Rockbridge Report.
From the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Josh Darrow.
And I'm Paige Jackson.
All seats on Buena Vista School Board have been decided. Charles Jolly won the final open seat after the Buena Vista registrar confirmed the results during a public meeting on Wednesday. The Rockbridge Report's Juliet Sahanage is live in Buena Vista with details of the write-in race. Juliet?
4 of the board's 7 seats were up for election this year. Voters re-elected Lisa Kerr and Roy Moeller, elected Duncan Gilbert. Charles Jolly told me he decided to run after noticing only 3 names on the ballot during early voting. He said he campaigned outside of the courthouse on Election Day and handed out flyers. Jolly was one of 2 candidates to receive over 200 write-in votes. He received 225 votes, beating out fellow write-in candidate Mike Cardellaro, who received 203. Reporting live from the Buena Vista Municipal Building, I'm Juliet Sahanage with the Rockbridge Report. Back to you, Josh.
Juliet. For more on the school board election, check out Juliet's story on our website, rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Dare's Lion mascot is making a comeback, but the message has changed. Rockbridge County Schools are reviving the drug abuse resistance education program this January. Sheriff's deputies will teach 5th graders the updated lessons. The original program focused on the Just Say No slogan, but the new curriculum teaches students how to think through real-life situations and make responsible choices. To learn more, read Cami Knott's story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Rockbridge County and Buena Vista schools are among 433 recipients of $12 million in state grants to upgrade school security. Local school officials say they will use the money at elementary and middle schools in the area. Caroline Schimpf reports.
Schools will receive nearly $180,000 to improve security at 5 buildings. The updates include a new system that will allow school officials to determine whether visitors are listed in the state sex offenders database.
So this database will allow us to check against that registry to make sure we don't have any people original in the sex offenders, or it also allows us to create our own database that can help us deal with things that are of local nature.
Each of the 4 Rockbridge County elementary schools and Maury River Middle School will get new security cameras to cover blind spots inside and outside of school buildings. The grant will also fund new doors with key fob access instead of the old lock and key system. Rockbridge schools have been converting to key fobs for the past 2 to 3 years. Central Elementary will get additional fencing to enclose all school areas, like the playground and outdoor fields.
Safety is a continuous process. You don't do things and then you're done. It never really ends, and that's important. That's something that shouldn't end.
Breeding says the grant from Virginia Department of Education will also fund more defibrillators in all 5 Rockbridge County schools.
We just want to expand our capacity for our staff to be able to respond if there is a cardiac event.
In Buena Vista, Enderley Heights Elementary School received more than $74,000, the only school in the city to receive funding. Superintendent Heather Alt says the money will be used to install a new system for classroom doors that will require teachers and staff to swipe ID badges to enter. Breeding says the Rockbridge district received quotes from vendors for the new equipment last week. He says all 5 Rockbridge schools should have the new equipment installed by January. At Enderley Heights, the new swipe system also is expected to be finished in January. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Caroline Schimpf.
Rockbridge County will get a new gas station and convenience store next year when Wawa finishes construction at a location just southeast of Lexington. A Wawa representative says it's one of 60 stores the company plans to open along Virginia's I-81 corridor in the next 10 years. County Economic Development Director Brandy Flint says the store will bring more than 30 new jobs to Rockbridge County, but she doesn't expect it to change gas prices. For more, check out Aiden Kelsey's story on our website.
The federal government's 42-day shutdown complicated Buena Vista's efforts to renovate its outdated wastewater treatment plant. That's because city officials say they can't get access to the federal money they need. Sydney DeVore reports.
Buena Vista officials are waiting on $2.3 million included in the federal budget that Congress hasn't passed yet to start renovating the wastewater treatment plant. The government reopened today, but the money from the Environmental Protection Agency's Clean Water Fund was not included in the short-term extension that passed.
Until the federal government actually approves the budget, that money's still up in the air.
VB officials were talking to the USDA about an additional $6 million when the government shut down.
A lot of their employees were furloughed or not working, and so it's been hard to communicate with them over the last few months.
The plant was built in 1986. Right now, the city spends $60,000 a year on credits, which are essentially penalties for polluting the Maury River. The plant allows phosphorus and nitrogen to get into the Maury River every day, violating the Chesapeake Watershed Act.
It's starting to fail in a couple of areas. Pumps aren't pumping the way they're supposed to be doing, valves are getting stuck, and so it's time for a complete overhaul.
The city estimates it is going to cost $25 million to do a complete overhaul of the plant. To make up the difference, city officials say they will eventually need to raise user fees. But Tyree says that is not going to happen anytime soon.
Every time we get one step forward, it's two steps back.
Yesterday, the House of Representatives passed a spending bill, which Trump signed last night, reopening the government.
With the government being open back up, we're really hoping that here in the next few weeks we can sit down with some folks, try to get that project going and move it forward.
The project was supposed to be completed by the end of 2026, but now Tyree says the earliest it will be finished is spring of 2027. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Sydney DeVory.
The penny is suffering the same fate as the dodo bird or the 8-track player. After 238 years, the U.S. Mint produced its last 1-cent coin on Wednesday. Earlier this year, President Donald Trump announced that he ordered the nation to stop making the penny, saying that each one cost nearly 4 cents to create. Other coins, including the nickel, dime, and quarter, will remain in circulation. Although the penny already seems obsolete to some consumers, its removal is causing problems for some merchants, who must now round the prices either up or down.
Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released emails from the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein that mentioned President Donald Trump by name multiple times. It's important to note law enforcement authorities have never accused Trump of wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. Epstein called Trump, quote, borderline insane in a 2018 email exchange with former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers. But the relationship was not always so strained. CNN's Randy Kay has more on their relationship over the years.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. Are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
That was President Donald Trump in July this year, offering a very different opinion of Jeffrey Epstein than he once shared publicly. In 2002, long before he became president, Trump told New York Magazine he'd known Jeffrey Epstein for 15 years and called him a terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side, Trump told the magazine. Over the years, the two have been spotted many times in public together. This NBC video shows Trump and Epstein socializing in 1992 at a party at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. The video, released in 2019, shows Trump appearing to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there, she's hot," while Epstein smiles and nods. Former swimsuit model Stacey Williams, who dated Epstein in 1993, told CNN in an interview Trump was Epstein's wingman.
They were best friends. They were very close.
The two men flew together as well. These flight logs show Trump traveled on Epstein's jet 4 times in 1993, twice in 1994, and once in 1995 and in 1997. The logs were made public during Ghislaine Maxwell's 2021 trial, where she was convicted of sex trafficking, among other things. Epstein also attended Trump's wedding to Marla Maples at New York's Plaza Hotel in 1993. In 1997, Trump added this personal note to Epstein inside a copy of his book, The Art of the Comeback. It reads, "To Jeff, you are the greatest," according to the New York Times. That same year, the two men were photographed together at Mar-a-Lago. This exclusive CNN video shows Epstein and Trump chatting in 1999 before a Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Despite all of that, during a court deposition here in Palm Beach in 2010, Epstein refused to answer many questions about his association with Trump. And Trump has continued to try and distance himself from Epstein as recently as July.
Reports earlier this summer tied President Trump to a birthday commemoration book for Epstein's 50th birthday. The president denies any association with the book.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, why voter turnout was up in rural Virginia last week. And then, how city officials are making sure Lexington keeps its unique look.
Heliotrope has been serving pizza since 2019. We'll take you inside the busy kitchen next.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Voter turnout in some rural areas in Virginia increased in last week's election. Large turnout among Democrats may be part of the reason why. Isabel Custer explains.
Voters in Rockbridge County beat the statewide average for turnout by 5.5 percentage points on November 4th. The nonpartisan Virginia Public Access Project says Rockbridge is one of several rural counties that exceeded the statewide average of nearly 54%. Rockbridge Area Democrats Chair Herb Rubenstein says turnout among Democrats is no accident.
Craig County, Allegheny County, Bath County, Highland County, all of those have made major progress in getting Democrats to come out.
Goochland, Highland, Charles City, and Lancaster counties all were more than 9 percentage points above the statewide voter turnout average. An Associated Press analysis also showed that Rockbridge County shifted more than 8 percentage points in voting for Democrats. Lexington shifted nearly 12 points. Buena Vista shifted 17 points compared to the last gubernatorial election in 2021. Rockbridge Area Republicans Chair Jan Lowry says the swing occurred because fewer Republicans showed up at the polls. She says President Trump's decision against endorsing gubernatorial candidate Winsome Earl Sears may have kept some Republicans from voting at all.
He was not only not on the ticket, but he didn't give a strong endorsement to Winsome or our candidates.
So is Virginia a blue or purple state? Republican Terry Austin was reelected for a 7th term to the State House of Delegates. He says Virginia remains purple.
The pendulum swings and it'll swing back toward the center, and we'll get some competitive government back in place, hopefully in a couple of years.
But Miles Coleman at UVA's Center for Politics says Virginia is a blue state.
It is looking more like a blue state because basically when Governor Youngkin won in 21, that election cycle to me is looking more and more like the exception.
Delegate Terry Austin told me now that Democrats have control of Virginia, it will likely mean more attention to gun control in the General Assembly. He also expects Democrats to introduce legislation to legalize marijuana. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Isabel Custard.
Lexington is a city known for its visually aesthetic buildings and streets, and city officials want to keep it that way. Skylar Hollins reports.
Mayor Frank Friedman says Lexington has a certain look and feel on purpose. Founded in 1777, the city keeps close watch on the old and the new.
We cling to our architecture and work to maintain it and have our property owners maintain it so that we can keep our unique perspective and unique look for downtown.
The city's planning commission is conducting a state-required 5-year review of the city's comprehensive plan. The plan establishes parameters for colors, signs, and lighting for homes and businesses.
It shows us where, say, new commercial is supposed to go or new residential development, and the purpose is to make sure that we have a plan so that we know where we're going to put things so that we don't make mistakes or make short-sighted decisions.
So far, the Planning Commission has reviewed the Historic Preservation and Arts and Culture section of the Comprehensive Plan.
It is the roadmap of the future for our community.
The Planning Commission's members have talked about striking a balance between encouraging growth and maintaining Lexington's sense of place.
There's so many developments that are more suburban natured throughout the United States that really have no character. So I think it's important to maintain that character as best we can.
The committee meets tonight to continue its work. Members are scheduled to discuss green infrastructure and community facilities. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Skylar Hollins.
Lexington is launching a homeowner helper program to fund essential repairs for residents who can't afford fixes, such as roofs, porches, and making kitchens and bathrooms functional and sanitary. Applications will open around January 15th and are due by March 1st. The program is among a partnership among the city, the Economic Development Authority, and the Threshold Housing Commission. To learn more, read Kate Wackeltz's story on our website.
Heliotrope has become a draw in Lexington, offering customers a variety of pizzas and toppings since 2019. Aiden Kelsey and Cami Knott take us into the kitchen.
part of this pizza is 6 years old. You heard that right. Co-owner Jenny Davies says every Heliotrope pizza ever cooked in its gas oven has come from the same batch of sourdough starter.
It's absolutely a microcosm of the things that grow in the air in Lexington. And I think it makes our pizza really good.
The sourdough starter is a mixture of flour and water that constantly ferments and absorbs good bacteria from the air. Heliotrope's chefs feed flour and water to the sourdough starter every day to keep it alive. The pizza chefs take a scoop of the sourdough starter and mix it with flour, water, and salt to form dough balls. Pizza chef Paolo Bufolco.
After we make dough, we put the dough in the fridge and then we rest for 24 hours. 24 hours and then we will roll the dough. So this is the first step, of course, stretching the dough. Maybe it's the most important part.
Then he adds 2 ladles of red sauce.
A little bit of red sauce.
All ingredients come from farms in Virginia.
We really feel like we have a moral obligation to give back to our community and to support local farmers.
Bufolco tops the pizza with mozzarella, oil, salt, and Parmesan. The margherita pizza doesn't have many toppings, but Davies says it's popular with the customers.
That's the OG of pizzas.
No matter the toppings, every pie bakes in a 500-degree oven.
Now we are putting the pizza in the oven. And to cook the pizza will take maybe 60 seconds, 90 seconds.
Then it's time for the chef to add the final touch.
A little bit of basil.
Now it's ready to cut and eat.
At Heliotrope, pizzas are ready for takeout or to enjoy inside the brewery. Perfect fuel for football season. For the Rockbridge Report, reporting with Aiden Kelsey, I'm Cammie Knott.
Women's sports at WNL are sweeping ODAC awards. How 3 sisters are bringing home first team honors next.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I saw some beautiful pictures of the Aurora Borealis in Lexington this week, and I was so devastated that I missed it.
I know, I didn't stay up to watch, but Jordan, can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
The Northern Lights appeared in the South this week, right here in Lexington on Tuesday, in fact. Here are some photos of the Northern Lights in Nelson County and Virginia Beach. Aurora Borealis is making a huge show in November, reaching deep across the continent, with spectacular views featuring a stunning display of red hues along with the usual greens and blues.
Back to the Rockbridge Report. The WNL ODAC fall teams have been going great. Did you make it to any of the games?
I didn't make it, but I heard soccer had a game winner in penalties on Saturday in order to take the ODAC title. Kate, just how good has this soccer season been?
They've had a great season, Josh. WNL women's soccer swept the ODAC major awards this year. Sarah Zimmerman won Player of the Year for the 2nd year in a row and won Scholar Athlete of the Year. Bryn Bissinger repeated as Defensive Player of the Year, and Mary Parrish Green was selected as Rookie of the Year. The team's coach also won Coach of the Year. Bissinger and Zimmerman landed on the all-ODAC first team, alongside her 2 sisters, Megan and Elizabeth Zimmerman, Sydney DeVory, and goalie Kate McEnroe. The team also had 2 players on ODAC third team. WNL field hockey also secured 8 all-ODAC selections. As it gets colder outside, sports are headed indoors. Women's basketball is starting strong. Mary Slicener was selected as the U.S. Basketball Writers Association Division III National Player of the Week. Volleyball punched their ticket to the 16th straight ODAC semifinals after beating Shenandoah University in the quarterfinals on Tuesday. They play again tonight in Virginia Beach against Virginia Wesleyan University. If they win, they'll play in the ODAC championship game on Saturday. Last night, women's basketball destroyed SVU 71-38. The team will be back in action this Saturday in Virginia Beach. Also this weekend, here in Lexington, you can watch women's soccer in the NCAA tournament against Marymount. 8 other WNL teams will travel this weekend. VMI men's basketball demolished Virginia University of Lynchburg last night, 106-54. The win was a redemption after a tough loss last weekend in Missouri. The team will play again this weekend in Lexington against Jacksonville. Earlier this week, VMI freshman Mackenzie Hobeck was named to the SoCon All-Tournament team. The true freshman started 16 games this season. SVU women's volleyball is headed to the USA South Tournament semifinal after defeating William Peace on Tuesday. After a strong 25-13 win in the first set, the Knights narrowly beat the team in the last 2 sets to pull off a 3-0 win. 3 of the players were selected to be on the USA South All-Conference teams. We are so proud of all of our generals who earned recognition for their athletic achievements, and I can't wait to see how they do at the end of their season. Back to you, Josh.
Thank you, Kate. Finally this evening, one Idaho family's pets are bringing the whole community together. When neighbors in Boise need to relax and unwind, they grab a leash and take one of their goats for a walk. Sahana Patel has the story.
While most people prefer dogs and cats for pets, the Ching family decided to adopt goats.
We could use goats to help eat the weeds, clear the area, and be something kind of fun and different to have in the neighborhood and also for ourselves.
Turns out they weren't the only ones who fell in love with these 4-legged farm animals.
People come by to the goat area and then, just enjoy watching the goats. So we thought about making this as a community engagement.
That's how Ching Goat was born, a free neighborhood activity where anyone can walk, feed, and hang out with these neighborhood celebrities.
So many people, they'll even just drive by, they'll roll down the window, just be like, "Bah!" She got Trinity and her daughter Topito. Oh, yeah.
The Ching say it's become a popular activity, especially among Boise State students in the neighborhood looking for a mental health break.
And you can just forget everything and just really be present in that moment and just look at these cute little goats and relax.
When they're not on a stroll, you can actually watch them from home on a 24/7 live stream.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report.
Thanks for watching. Have a good evening.